Hi guys, it's Kazuma here. I want to show you guys my old Soul Saber deck. Now, this is a very early series, like when I got this it's probably around 2018, I'm not sure, but that's how I remember it. I got this in around 2018. Now, I'm going to go show you guys my deck profile. Okay, let's start with the great trees. First of all, I run for Soul Saber. This is your main avatar or your main focus. So you need four of these. Its skill is Soul Blast 5, and all your units, each of them would get 15k. And when this unit attacks, Soul Charge 1. Next, the second Vanguard, or should I say the second command, I would say you need to run 2 King of Knights Alfred. Its skill is counter blast 1, search your deck for up to 1 blaster blade, call it to the rear guard, and that unit gets 5,000 until the end of the turn. Shuffle your deck, and the blaster blade on the rear guard, this unit gets up 10k, so it's very helpful. And many people have asked in terms of running this. Sometimes they use alt mile instead, but for me personally, I like Alfred better because he's very consistent with blaster blade. All right. Okay. Next. Next is Swordsman of Explosive Flames, Palamedes. Now, for Palamedes, I'm actually trying to think if I would, want more of Alfred or Palamedes, but in this case, I put 3 Palamedes instead because I need Soul Saver to have his support. When Soul Saver is around, this is really good as support. Its skill is when placed, Soul Charge, which is very useful. It supports Soul Saver. The second one is when a card is placed in the drop zone, if it's 5,000 till the end of the turn. Now, if you are able to get rid of 5 cards from your soul, you're able to soul blast like 5 cards. That's going to be around 25k, which is a lot. And if you have 2 of these, it's like 50k, so that's actually pretty strong. But in my opinion, this guy is kind of risky. In my opinion, if it's not your style, maybe you should just make this into an Alfred or a backup, but that depends on you. For me, depending on how I shuffle it, it's usually very useful. Okay, so like I said, we start off with Soul Saver, King of Knights Alfred, and Palamedes. After the grade 3 setup, let's go to the grade 2 setup. I run 4 high Dog Breeder Akane. Now, she's actually one of my favorite cards. In my opinion, I kind of like her better with Blaster Blade, and I'm going to explain why. First of all, one place, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 Pongal, call it to the rear guard, and shuffle your deck. Now, that's quick for Superior Call. In my opinion, I really like Superior Calls because in terms of Royal Paladins, you need all the support you can get. If you're playing a Royal Paladin, it's very important that you're able to, make use of your allies. So having a unit that would, Superior Call an ally, that's very useful. Next, during the battle, this was boosted by a high beast. This unit gets 3,000, so that's, very powerful, 13k. It makes this as powerful as a grade 3. Next. Loading Angel. I put like 4 Loading Angels. Now, this is very crucial as well. It's one of my favorite units to use, and I'm gonna go explain as well. Usually when I battle my opponents, they get pissed off because it doesn't say once per turn. You could spam this guy all you want. You could even summon him. My recommendation is, if you're gonna go use this guy, you need to, always put him into the battlefield. Even if you're just gonna put him in the back row, and he's not gonna do anything, you still need him because this Sky skill is really powerful, and I'll read it. At the end of your turn, if you have 5 or more units, counterblast 1, put this into your soul, draw 2 cards. So imagine having 2 of these guys or 3 of these guys. You're able to have so many. This is equivalent to a draw trigger, actually. In my opinion, it's even better than a draw trigger because you get 2 cards, and it's a great combo for Soul Saver because you're able to soul charge while getting, while getting 2 cards in return, and that's a lot. But it's kind of heavy with a counter blast, but it's alright. It's alright. Next, I run 4 Blaster Blades. Now, for Blaster Blade, I'm kind of neutral with him because many people like Blaster Blade, but for me personally, I don't uh, like Blaster Blade so much. I still prefer Akane because, But Blaster Blade's skill is pretty good. He's actually, Aichi's main avatar. Now, I'll read his skill. If you have 4 or more rear guards, this unit gets +1 critical, so that's actually a very powerful skill, but you need Akane to pull that off, in my opinion. 1 place, Counter Blast, and Soul Blast. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the front row and retire it. So, the moment this guy is placed in the battlefield, one of your opponent's rear guards is going to be gone. But you get to choose, I just want to explain, because if you're going to run Shadow Paladins, maybe next time, it's actually your opponent who chooses. It's kind of the mind game about it, but for Blaster Blade, you choose him. In my opinion as well, I think Blaster Blade is much stronger than Blaster Dark, and that kind of hurts me because I like edgy stuff, but based on the meta on how things have been going in the past, so I'm pretty sure that Royal Paladins are a lot more easy to use, and in some cases they're even stronger. So like I said, 4 Blaster Blade. As much as possible, you need to use this guy as the main Vanguard, but if you don't have it in your hand, using Akane as your Vanguard, pretty much alright. Like, that's the reason why I prefer Akane. She's good for Vanguard and Rearguard. For Blaster Blade, he's fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. Alright, next. For Pongos. You need Pongal because this is actually the unit that's gonna, support Akane. Now, Pongal skill is when placed, if you have another unit with the same column as this unit, Soul Charge, and if this card Soul Charge is a trigger unit, this unit gets +5,000. So it's very powerful. Now, if you actually try to combine this with Akane, I'll show you a combo that I usually use is to go something like this. This unit goes with 3k, so it's 13k. This one is, 8k. 13 plus 8, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So it's around 21k. And plus if it's a trigger unit, it becomes 26k. So it's actually very powerful. And to combine it with this unit, which is Soul Saver, plus 15k, that just makes it a lot stronger. Next. Pure Bright Unicorn. When placed, if you have 3 front row units, Soul Charge. 1 place, if you have 5 or more units, this unit gets +5,000. Very powerful, very simple to use, but you still need 2 front row units to make this guy work. Very helpful for Soul Saver. Next. Refreshing Night Grihil. Now, for many people, they usually say you shouldn't use this for, a Soul Saver deck because why would you want the Soul Blast instead of Soul Charge? Now, the reason why I put this unit here is because usually there are moments when my soul has a lot and it's not, or sometimes it's not enough for the Soul Blast of, Soul Saver Dragon. And I still need help with, Palamedes because there are moments when I have bad hand. It happens to the best of us. Now, there are moments when I don't get Soul Saver. And I can't make this guy work. He becomes completely useless. So, I added this card, this unit, because she's very helpful in balancing out the synergy between Palamedes and Soul Saver, just in case things go south. Next, pluck Enchanter. When your Blaster Blade is placed, Soul Charge. If there are no face-up units in the damage zone, counter charge. So this is your counter charger. I only placed 2 because, in terms of the counter blast, when you usually play the deck, it's not really heavy. I mean, I've been playing this deck for a long time, and I never saw the reason to put 4. I used to put 4 of these guys, but I kind of changed my mind because it's more useful to have, to rely on Soul Charge and Soul Blast. So, I still put the counter charger, and, it's still there. Okay, next, let's go to the triggers. I'm not gonna go make this any longer. For the triggers, 4 Flash Shield is Assault. Of course. Next, 4 Elaine, obviously. 2 Flogel. 3 Bringer of Luck Epona. And 3 Future Knight Lu. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, for my starter, I usually care about the aesthetic. Whenever I make my decks in Vanguard, I usually make sure that it's consistent. So I use the standard Barkle. Now, like I said, this is an old deck. I haven't been playing too much Vanguard anymore as I used to be. I'm more of a casual player. I used to be a competitive player, but I'm more of a collector now. So yeah, okay. Now, in this deck, you could either use 3 Force markers or 3 Force 2 markers. In my opinion, I think you should rely more on Force 2. Trust me, Force 2 is much more reliable in this deck than Force 1 because you already have the power. Like, the power levels of Soul Saver deck is sky high. So, as much as possible, you don't need the power. What you need is the critical. So, if I were you, you could run 3 Force 2. Now, some people may ask, where do you usually put the Force 2? Because when I was usually starting this deck, some people would have different strategies and place the Force 2 into the rear guard first, then the Vanguard. In my opinion, you should put it in the Vanguard. Always Vanguard. So, just little advice. Place this in the Vanguard circle as much as possible. Then rear guard, rear guard. That's it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys have any questions, I can show you guys more of my decks. Like, I got a lot. You guys have no idea. Anyway, I think that's it. Peace out.